Hey everyone, welcome to the second part of my tutorial series on self-directed learning and how to do online tutorials. If you remember, in the first part we've already covered finding and keeping your motivation and finding the tutorials that are at the right level and that are right for you, the right skills. This part of the tutorial we're going to go over some more practical real-world skills, which are how to prepare your space that you're working in to get the most out of your time so you're not wasting it, and how to use your computer effectively, as well as a few other little tips and tricks. Now, you can see over here on the right, I've got a bunch of pictures of amazingly clean desks. Now, this isn't I'm not going to tell you that this is what my desk looks like all the time, but it when you're sitting down to do a set task, when you've got a good couple of hours to sit down and focus, if I'm going to do a job like that, I will clear my desk off, make sure that I don't have any distractions around me. Make sure my phone is turned on silent or put away. Make sure my emails are turned on to silent or turned off. Facebook and Reddit are definitely closed. And if you've got your tablet or anything on your desk, you can move that away as well if you're not going to need it for the tasks that you need. Otherwise, it's very easy. We know what it's like. You get a message or you get an email, you check your email when you're halfway through something, you get distracted, and then you forget to go back to it. Or by the time that you do go back to it, you've forgotten the last three things that you were being taught that your brain was storing. So it's a good idea to try and minimize distractions and minimize ways for yourself to procrastinate. Okay, now that you've cleaned your desk off, what things should you have on your desk with you? So a notepad and pen, I think, is a very good idea to have with you. Now, it works really well as a memory device. I know that we have computers and we have the ability to store all this information and take notes in things like Google Docs and Word, and we can take that information and store it in our computers permanently. But writing things down does something in your brain which allows you to be better able to recall and remember certain things. So I'll often use my sketchbook for scribbling down design ideas or quickly iterating over a few different compositional ideas. I'll often use it for scribbling down some maths and graphs and stuff like that. And this is a really useful tool. If you're concerned about keeping notes, what I also do is once I've finished a page of notes, I'll take a photo with my phone and that automatically goes up online to be stored in the cloud with Google. So, notebooks, great things to have as a part of your workflow. All right, brain fuel. What do you need to get through your tutorial session? Glass of water, always good to have. Got to stay hydrated. And fruit. I find fruit is fantastic. Keep the lollies and the sugary stuff away unless you, well, unless you really need it. But that'll give you little short bursts of energy, and it's not good for you in the long run. Bananas, apples, mandarins, oranges, all that stuff, great for you. Gives you a good little boost during your long tutorial sessions. Now, this is something we also covered in the previous tutorial, but I'm going to reiterate it because it's a very important one, and that is keeping to-do lists. Breaking tasks down into small, I'll put achievable chunks here. Now, this makes it much easier for you to feel like you're getting somewhere. It makes it easier for you to remember where you're up to, and it gives you a way to reflect on your progress. So, same examples I provided for the previous tutorial. Here is a project that I'm currently doing called So Long Oblong. Now you can see here that I've broken it down into code tasks, user interface tasks, feature wish list, and some project management PR stuff. Now, within these, I've actually also broken them down further. So I've got a mesh editor, and this mesh editor is broken down into three separate components. So moving vertices, deleting edges, and creating faces from three connected edges. And so as I finish these, I can tick them, gives myself a little bit of progress here. So it makes it easy for me to be able to monitor my progress through tasks, makes things seem more manageable. In the case of tutorials, keeping lists of tutorials, keeping lists of resources, all those kinds of things will work really well for you. And I can highly recommend Trello.com. It's a great little small list keeping app. There's a lot of very bloated ones out there that have way too many features. This is really nice, neat and clean. Another thing that I use, and this is very handy, is a plugin for Chrome called Strict Workflow. Now, if you just Google that, Strict Workflow, I can pop a link in the documentation. This is the plugin. So what it does is it enforces a technique called Pomodoro technique, which is working for 25 minutes and having a 5-minute break. You work for 25 minutes and you have a 5-minute break. And so what this does is if I click this tiny little tomato in the corner here, it puts me on a 25-minute work cycle. Then an alarm will go off. I get a 5-minute break. Have your water, have your apples, go for a little bit of a walk, get up from your desk, stretch your eyes, stretch your legs, which are all very important health things. But what it does, and the way it enforces this, is that during that 25-minute work period, you are unable to open websites like Facebook, Reddit. YouTube is actually on the default block list, which you can kind of see here. But in your case, you would want to take that off most likely because a lot of the tutorials that you'll be doing are on YouTube. So this is a great tool, handy tool to stop you from accidentally procrastinating halfway through a tutorial session. Okay. Next up, using your computer effectively. Now, you can see here that I have notes on the left-hand side here, and I have a browser on the right-hand side, and I'm able to move these windows between one another. Now, sorry, Mac people, I'm not 100% sure how the docking works on Mac, but this is a Windows feature at the moment. I'm pretty sure there are programs out which allow you to do this on Mac as well. But what I'm going to show you how to do here is how to dock your windows. So I've got this window here. I'm going to put everything down to the desktop. So that's a Windows key and D. Windows key D to go to desktop. I'm going to select a window that I want. Let's just pretend that's gone to full screen. And so I'm like, okay, this is taking up the full width of my screen, but I only need to see the notes in a small vertical section. So I'm going to hold the Windows key and press left or right, and you'll notice that it snaps to either side of my screen. When I let go of the Windows key, it now asks me what window I would like to put on the other side of the screen. So here I've got my reference images. Let's click on that. And here you go. I can now drag that across because I need to see more of my reference images and less of my notes here. Docking windows is fantastic. Again, for example, say I've got a YouTube tutorial and then I've got a Unity window open over here. So I can then squish my Unity tutorial down to whatever size I need to, and then I've got my Unity editor open over here so I can still work alongside the tutorial at the same time. Some of you will be lucky enough to have dual monitors. That's even better still, because then you can have a full monitor dedicated to your software and a full monitor dedicated to notes and tutorials. Okay, learning to Alt-Tab between programs. So that's using Alt, holding down Alt and Tab. You can see here that it brings up a list of open programs. This allows me to switch quickly. So if you are in a situation where you need to see a full screen video of your tutorial, you can Alt-Tab to the tutorial, Alt-Tab to your editor. Alt-Tab to tutorial, Alt-Tab to editor. Now this is, again, just a great way to manage your windows, manage your desktop space, same way that you would manage your desk space in the real world. Okay. Screenshot button. There is a print screen button on your keyboard which captures screenshots. But in Windows, there's also this handy feature. If you just press the Windows or go to Start here and just type in snip, there's the snipping tool. This allows you to click on New and you can select an area of the screen that you want to capture and then save. Great way for taking screenshots. Leaving programs and tutorials open that you are working on. So for example, here I have been working on a little voice recorder and playback system for a festival that I'm going to. So I've left this open on my desktop here because I know that I want to get this finished. And if I've got it open on my computer, when I come back to it, it's there, it's ready, all my resources are already loaded. I don't have to go through any lengthy load process. So everything is there ready to work. Okay, on to a few little tips and tricks that I've picked up along the way. Always read and watch most of the content of a video first to make sure you have an understanding of what it's asking you or what it's asking you to do. So if I find a tutorial, so let's go over here, how to 3D print on tulle fabric, right? Instead of just trying to start straight away, scan through the tutorial, see what things you need. So there you go, there's supplies. Okay, they're using they're using the Tinkercad software here. All right, then they're setting up their 3D print. So this way I can get an idea of the flow before I actually start doing the tutorial. This allows me to understand the basics of what I need to know. If I need to know different software, if I need different supplies and those kinds of things. Make notes of particular points in a video so that you have helpful information. If you're on a YouTube video and say we're up to this point and Daniel Schiffman's doing something particularly hilarious or providing us with some exciting information, you can right click on a YouTube and copy video URL at current time. So it copies it at that time, then go in, paste that into your notes. So then you've got a bookmark at that time. Set daily practice goals. Set aside half an hour a day. It's not much, at least half an hour, just so you keep your brain up to scratch. Say I'm learning sketching, half an hour of sketching a day. Might do half an hour of anatomy, half an hour of practicing characters, that kind of stuff. Set goals for yourself and set steady practice times for yourself. Last and not least, though, if you're having trouble understanding something or you feel like you're not soaking all the information in, try explaining it to someone else. You'll be surprised how well this trick works. If you don't feel like you're getting something, go to somebody who knows nothing about it and try and explain it to them. Because that way what will happen is you will notice the points at which you've stopped understanding or at which you're unable to explain, and they're usually good points to go back and interrogate in your tutorial process. Also, you may get the added benefit of getting somebody else excited by what it is that you're learning and want to share it with you as well. So that's it for the self-directed learning tips and tricks. I'm sure there's a lot more out there. If anyone else has any other ideas, please add them to the comments. There's a question section on the bottom of this document. Please feel free to add whatever you like there, and I'll endeavor to try and answer all of them. Thank you very much. I hope you get a lot out of this. Bye.